Hello everyone, and welcome to WWWhatwas Monday Night Raw for the 25th of July, 2016. It's the start of a new era, but how new was it really? Now, despite what my flavor text at the end there may have said, this actually was a pretty new feeling Raw. There was a new set, a new roster, a new GM, a same old commissioner, but all in all, there was a new focus on wrestling this week. Everything was pretty much focused in ring. Even we did have the return of some squash matches, which, if you've seen some of my previous WWE What Was, you know I'm not a huge fan of them, and they weren't used particularly well this week, with Nia Jax being in one, and not a fan of her using that leg drop. Braun Strowman and that really, really unfortunate haircut of his being in another, and Enzo and Cass were in a glorified squash against the Shining Stars. But all in all, it was much nice to see small wrestling matches versus what we used to get of squash match, then a 20-minute promo, then a squash match, then a 20-minute promo. It was good to see. Plus, we also had a lot of in-ring interviewing, kind of a more MMA pro sports feel, with Byron going in the ring or Tom Phillips interviewing people right afterwards. It gave it a very good sports feel, and it was good to see it focused on wrestling. Even the New Day segment, which was the most stereotypical pro wrestling segment of the night, did have a wrestling focus, with Gallows and Anderson coming to interrupt and set up a feud with them. All in all, I liked where they're going, and it could be a sign of good things to come. And to continue on with that new theme, it was announced we have a new championship, a new second world title, except it's not the world title, it's the WWE Universal Championship. By God, that's a stupid name for a belt. But it was announced on Monday that Raw will have its own champion, and that will be determined at SummerSlam. And it'll be Seth Rollins facing either the winner of a small tournament they had, which was 2 Fatal 4-Way matches with a final qualifying match. I liked this setup. The 2 Fatal 4-Way matches were good. The first one I liked a little bit more because it had a lot more of the workers in it. It was also a lot longer than the second one, but the first one was won by Finn Balor, which was a surprise, given this was also Finn's debut on the main roster, and it was good to see that with the popularity of NXT, he had a very smooth transition, with even people knowing to do the stand-up when his music hits the crescendos. That was good to see. I do think he owes Rusev an apology, because I do believe Ruru and Lana do want to have kids at some point, and Balor may have bruised his Bulgarian brutes with that coup de grace. But the second Fatal 4-Way I wasn't as big a fan of, because it was a little bit slower, it was a little bit more silly, and Roman Reigns won, but I won't hold that completely against him. It wasn't great, but it set up Balor versus Reigns, and Balor and Reigns actually had a surprisingly good match, and I will give Reigns credit, and I didn't touch on this, though. Before I give him credit, I do have to say, because I didn't touch on this in my WWE What Was for Battleground, Roman, that is an unfortunate beard. Now, I realize you're kind of going for, he was a wild, caged animal, but you just look slightly unkempt. You don't scream wild Samoan, more Samoan who misplaced his Bic razor. But I digress. Giving credit to Roman, he has learned a new move, and he's done a lot of variants of it, and that's the power bomb, whether it's that Niagara driver, the roll through and pick him up and Rampage Jackson style slam. He even did at one point to Balor, he did a multiple power bombs. It's good to see. It's a variant on that move, can be the basis for an entire moveset, and it would be interesting to see how he develops that. Give a ton of credit to Balor, though. He took the ball and ran with it. He took the beating from Roman, and then ended it with the coup de grace. I didn't actually think it was going to end. It was a genuine surprise ending, and it sets up Balor versus Rollins for the Universal Championship, which is almost my dream match. Just change out Universal Championship for WWE Championship and make it a 60-man Iron match, and I'd be happy. And while it may not have been the last match to go on, we come to the main event. The Women's Championship match between Charlotte and Sasha Banks, brought to you by Mountain Dew. Sorry, they said that a lot. It got drilled into my brain watching this. This was good. I think Sasha and Charlotte are the perfect opponents for each other. And why I say that is the first part of this match was slow and I was like, oh, this is kind of turned to crap. But then I reminded myself, Charlotte, for as good as she is a really slow starter. She needs to get into the flow of things, and then once she's going up and running, then she's fantastic. Sasha, conversely, is a very fast starter, is a little, almost reckless, little loose in the opening. I don't know if that's just nerves, excitement, or adrenaline, but once she kind of takes that adrenaline dump and smooths out, then she becomes the great wrestler that everyone knows that she is, and that's why people want Sasha. This was good. The nod from Sasha to Eddie throwing the belt up to get Dana kicked out, really liked. The brutal shots these gals hit each other with, and that hanging figure four, which really could hurt, was nice to see. And the ending was just perfect. It perfectly represented these two's characters and how they've sort of grown apart from when they were in NXT, where they were kind of the same thing. Charlotte screaming at Sasha, "You will never beat me, ever!" Missing and hit with a bank statement, wrenching it back, and then finally, what should have happened at WrestleMania, what should have happened at Battle Royal, what likely probably, maybe should have waited to happen till SummerSlam? Sasha Banks is the women's champion. The legit boss is the legit champ. Wow, that was corny. Sorry for that. But you can't help but be happy for Sasha. She was moved to tears at the end, and it was just, it was a good sight to see. It was a good note for Raw to go. Liked it. Overall, this was a good episode of Raw. If this is the direction they continue to going, I actually maybe kind of have hopes for this new era, or the new era inside of the new era, or the new era 0.20, or I don't know what we're officially calling it. Universal title is still a stupid name, though, but that will be me wrapped up for the day. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you didn't, well, there's another button for you to do just that. You want to keep seeing more of this, please subscribe, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about Raw. Is the Universal title the dumbest name for a title you've ever heard, or could you think of a dumber one? Either way, that WWWhatwas Monday Night Raw.